Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing the behavior and body language of Jeffrey Epstein during a deposition responding to questions about President Trump. Before we get started with this, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
Now, the first thing you saw was as soon as he said Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein's eyes started blinking. We tend to blink like that when we feel stressed. So immediately when the name Donald Trump was said, Jeffrey Epstein started getting nervous. We're going to go back and we're going to keep watching.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationship?
Before he started speaking again, you saw the eyes flutter again. More and more stress. These are questions he does not want to answer.
Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes.
So you'll notice the only place you're seeing stress at first is the blinking. And that's because he's being very aware of how he's coming across. So as well as he's controlling the rest of his face right now, the blinking is giving away how much stress he's experiencing. Next thing I want you to pay attention to is his hands and his face. Watch this right here.
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you
Now we just caught something very, very interesting. I actually had to go back after editing this because I caught it while I was editing, and this is really surprising. I want you to watch his mouth. Now, when we feel fear, it looks something like that. Okay, that's real, genuine fear. Not feeling uncomfortable, not feeling a little bit anxious. That is fear. And when he's talking about this, you briefly see fear flash across his face. And the reason that's so significant is this man is a psychopath. If you read about the things that he has done, he has to be. There's no question about it. So for him to actually feel fear, which he probably doesn't feel very much, it has got to be something really intense. So listen to this context. We're going to watch it a couple of times. I want you to watch his mouth. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's subtle, but it is 100% there.
What do you mean by personal relationships?
have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever
There it was. I'm going to try to pause on it. Watch this.
socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Watch the corners of the mouth. They go down, and what it can only be explained as fear.
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald?
And then he immediately follows that up with closing and almost pinning his mouth closed. I mean, look at the way that he is holding his mouth closed. He's not going to try to say anything about this. Like, he is desperate to say nothing about this. Let's go back and watch that one last time, then we'll keep going.
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the
All right, so if you look at each individual hand position, this, individually, if you keep it paused like that for a long time, or if you're sitting like that to be comfortable, that's one thing. He's very fidgety right now, going from this position to this position. When we touch our lips, it calms us down. You'll also see he's covering his mouth right now. We do this as a way to not say things, to not say something that we want to say. Sometimes you see people withdraw their lips. Right now, he's physically covering his mouth. So there's definitely things that he does not want to say right now. That is very clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
All right, now we're catching a lot here. If you're watching his eyes and you're watching his hand, that's really where we're seeing everything right now. Now, oftentimes when we talk, we raise our eyebrows to bring attention to our face. You're not seeing anything like that because he does not want you to be paying attention to him right now. He's trying to hide as much as he can. So you see the hand covering the mouth. That truly is to obscure, one, the view of the face by a little bit. It doesn't obscure it entirely. But also, once again, that's his unconscious desire to not say anything. He really does not want to express what's going on in his mind. Second, continue to watch the eyes. There is a specific rhythm to the way that he continues to blink his eyes. Watch this again. Just watch all of this and just pay attention to his eyes.
Socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18.
Did you see how many times he would stop and start blinking really quickly? I've watched as much Jeffrey Epstein footage as is out there, and he does not always do this.
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
All right. Let's go back and watch the first part of that again.
Females under the age of 18.
So you saw a pause, taking time to process what to do. And this is one of the things that we watch in body language, is that body language is mostly involuntary. Not everything we do is involuntary, but the meaningful body language is. So oftentimes when we disagree with something, we can't help but shake our head no. And typically that would happen as soon as he started thinking or feeling it. So as soon as he heard something that he disagreed with, typically what you'd see is you'd immediately see that head shake. What we're seeing here is we're seeing him listen, process, think, and then shake his head. And that has a lot more to do with deception. We tend to associate that specifically with deception, as opposed to as soon as the question's being asked, you're already going to be seeing some subtle head nod. Watch this again. You'll see what I mean.
Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18.
See, there was a pause, a subtle head shake, and it looked like there was some contempt in the corner of his mouth, because when we do that, the one side of the face, that's specifically contempt. So I think he felt contempt after being asked this question. It's very subtle, but you can see it on the left side of his mouth.
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
So I talked about how he's putting his hand over his mouth to block what he's going to say. Watch, it goes exactly in line with what he's saying right now. Watch this right here.
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today.
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, he's telling you, he's covering his mouth. I'm not saying anything today. He also closes his eyes or is looking down, but he's averting his gaze when he's saying that. Being deceptive, even for people that are psychopaths, can be uncomfortable if they're in a situation where they feel like the stakes are really, really high. And this is one of those situations.
I'm going to have to assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Now look at the blinking stops as he is asserting his 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights. Watch this.
Females under the age of 18.
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my Fifth.
That was the one time we saw an eyebrow raise, at least today. So he's now very clear. Focus on this. I'm not saying anything today.
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and stop here. Hopefully this is helping you better understand some of the behavior and body language that we saw from Jeffrey Epstein during this deposition. Now, one thing was abundantly clear, which is that he was very, very uncomfortable answering questions about President Trump. When asked, you would see the blink rate pick up. You'd see him obscuring his mouth. Now, I've watched other clips of him. He does not always act this way. So it really stands out that he would get this uncomfortable and this anxious. Oftentimes, he looks confident. He looks comfortable because he knows he's not going to respond to questions anyway. But even being asked these questions seemed to make him quite anxious and stressed. If you have any thoughts about that, please let me know in the comments below. And if there's anything else you want me to analyze, I'm also interested to hear about that. I do plan to continue to cover this case, so if there's anything else that you can think of that you want to see, please let me know. Last thing before we get finished up is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, thanks for watching.